This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. It's a beautiful day outside.
It really is, yeah.
It's going to be beautiful all week long. Free agency is, well, officially set to start at 4 o'clock Wednesday.
Right.
I know a lot of people out there, like at noon today, I'm getting a lot of social media tweets. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley.
What's up?
And I'm like looking at this. I'm going, we're 24 hours into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people are acting like free agency is done.
Oh,
it's over.
Ship has sailed. I mean, you got no chance.
Nobody else is going to be signed. It's all done. This is what your team's got. I'm watching NFL Network today, and they're talking about the teams that, these teams really took a step back. I'm like, you got more free agency coming. There's going to be more guys released, and they have this little thing called the draft.
The draft is coming, and a lot of people that buy heavy on day one regret it.
Yeah.
There's all the post-June 1st cut guys that are coming out. There's going to be more releases that happen along the way. But quick story, you're talking about how nice it is here. I drove the whole way here, windows down, listened to my podcast, happy as could be, pull in the lot. Car next to me, Wolf Consulting. I'm like, oh, how about that?
There you go.
Perfect little day. Walk in the house, into the building, not freezing, and all's well in the world.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And we don't have the lantern flies yet.
I know.
It's a nice day outside. Right. There's no lantern flies.
Yep. So I thought it was a good omen.
Didn't have anything to step on the way in. But,
mm-hmm. So I'm in a good mood. Here we go.
So to your point about the June 1st cuts, two of the guys that the Steelers have been linked to.
Right.
One is Darius Slay.
Sure.
The other one is Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
They won't officially become free agents until 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, they're Eagles and Jets, respectively,
right
this
now,
minute.
As we sit here.
Yes.
They're going to be released. Same with like Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
They're going to be released.
Right. Like Hargrave's rumored to be signed by the Vikings, but he's not signed by the Vikings, or it's not done.
Technically, you can't come to a contract agreement with them because they're not free agents.
Right. Do you know how this works? The Niners, Eagles, Jets, if they grant that player permission to talk, they can.
Yeah.
But like Schefter can't be like, there's a deal in place.
There's a deal in place. No.
Yeah, because there's not a deal in place yet.
Yeah.
Right. They're a Jet.
Right.
I mean, they're not open for business.
No, they could say,
legally.
they could have again, if they've given them some kind of permission to at least explore, because we're going to cut you.
Mm-hmm.
You can have some parameters on, hey, we're interested in signing you to a 1-year deal. We're interested in signing you to a 2-year deal, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't necessarily hammer out the contract details. They're still under contract to their former team.
And he certainly can't be reported or official in any way, right?
None of this stuff is official. None of this stuff is official.
Right.
Everybody's freaking out over, oh my God, there've been, I think there were like 52 players or something like that signed yesterday, or who agreed to terms yesterday, and another like 17 today. There are like 700 players in free agency.
Right, it's a drop in the bucket.
People are acting like this is it. It's done.
Yeah.
Steelers aren't going to spend any money.
It's over.
Nobody's going to.
This is what they're going to line up with.
This is it.
Skylar Thompson behind center. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're right. There's a lot more to happen. There's a lot more to become official. Coincidentally, we go on the air as we do every day at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So that first 2 hours could be some stuff, like along those lines. And someone tweeted me just like half an hour ago, like, hey, call Fields' agent and convince him not to sign with the Jets because he didn't put pen to paper. I'm like, I didn't write back, but I thought there is still some of that out there. I mean, it's not a done deal. 99% of them go through that have been reported, and I'm not suggesting the Steelers are trying to pry Fields away or have any scoop that way, but I'm like thinking to myself, at least you're thinking the right way, that this stuff is not set in stone yet. I mean,
nothing is set in stone.
Is not started yet.
No, and there's still time. Guys can have buyer's remorse.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know what? Or somebody else steps in and said, they're offering you this. We could offer you this, and maybe this is a better situation for you. And they go, oh, okay, I'll take it. It's Tyson Alualu.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand that was a COVID situation. And it
was a weird year.
There was a week in between there where he agreed to the terms with the Jaguars, but he couldn't get to Jacksonville to sign the
actually get
agreement.
there, right.
And in the meantime, Cam Hayward kept chipping away at him like, no, man, come back here.
And eventually he said, cool, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right. So, no, there is a lot of stuff still, balls in the air, so to say. You know, I mean, I think we have some pretty good ideas of who's going where. We have great ideas where a lot of people are going. But even like, what's his face? The Eagles defensive tackle that made a fortune. I mean, he was rumored to be locked up by the Panthers, and 10 minutes later, oh, now it's the Patriots.
Yeah, now it's the Patriots.
Right. These guys can change their minds.
Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett.
Yeah, right. They're done deal.
These guys changed their mind.
Mm-hmm. But then we might get Slay and Rogers news this time tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's all still up in the air until you have pen to paper. Nothing is official.
I am curious. I meant to do a search half hour ago, and I forgot is there a list somewhere of all the designated post June 1st cuts? Because might not be thinking about some of those names. I mean, there's probably more out there than I know.
Cooper Kupp's going to be one.
He's going to be one. Okay, yeah. I mean, there'll be a lot of those types that are interesting.
And with that in mind, I mean, as things stand right now,
and usually those are better players or guys that have made money.
Last night, Najee Harris agrees to a 1-year deal with the Chargers, up to $9.25 million.
Yeah. James Daniels signed.
Daniels signed a 4-year deal worth $32 million. You had Landon Roberts sign a 1-year deal with the Raiders. I looked this morning with all those deals in place and the Steelers having signed no outside free agents yet. Now, Malik Harrison agreed to terms.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cancel out what they got. You can get up to 4.
I said there's a limit. You can't have all 32 picks.
You can have up to 4 compensatory picks. And as it stands right now, they've got a 3, a 4, a 5, and they qualify for 2 6s. Well, they're going to lose one of those 6s, but they're going to have 4. They're going to have 4 compensatory picks.
It sounds like that's almost a done deal.
Almost a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, because even if they go sign a handful of other true UFAs, it only chips away a little.
At the bottom, probably.
Let alone if Wilson signed somewhere else, too. I mean, that could be $25 million with the Giants.
Even if it's 20.
Or whatever,
20 got you. 20 got you. That's what Justin
third.
Fields got. And got you a 4.
That was a 4. Okay.
Yeah.
But you could get multiple 3s. You could get multiple 4s. I mean, it doesn't mean you can only get one of each.
And by the time
picks.
when they start factoring in the playtime formulas and all that part of it,
it can go up.
They can go up.
Right.
It could go down a little bit if they don't play.
Right.
But it can also go up.
But if Fields has a great year, plays every snap for the Jets, that helps you.
It might be a 3.
Right. I mean, Dan Moore doesn't miss a lot of time.
Right.
I mean, Najee doesn't miss any time.
The Dan Moore pick is not going to change.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get a 3rd-round draft pick for Dan Moore, who you drafted in the 4th round. And, by the way, you traded a 6th-round pick last year for Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
You got 6 starts out of him.
Yep. There's an art to this. I'm glad we went down this road.
And you're going to get a 4th-round pick back.
Yeah. There's a reason teams like the Ravens and Eagles, the Ravens are the bastards of it, are always good at this because they make those type of deals.
The Rams have been the poster. I mean,
Rams are phenomenal at it.
Yeah.
Like, the Rams went 9 years, I think it was, from Goff until Verse without making a first-round pick. I mean, it's an insane number. But they made lots of picks in that stretch because they worked the comp game.
Yeah.
You know, they would go trade for
they'd have
Ramsey or
they'd have no
Cooks
first-round picks, but they'd have
they pick 10 guys.
They'd have 5 picks on day 2.
4ths and that type of things too. And if you hit on half of those or a third of them, it's gold.
Right.
And again, like the Fields thing, you almost can't lose.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he's not good for you. I mean, you don't even have to play him.
It's why, and I didn't agree with it, but it's why the Ravens re-signed Deontay Johnson after he was released.
It was a little bit dirty pool, but
they're not going to get a premium pick out of Deontay Johnson.
No, right. But they paid him 2 paychecks or whatever to get some sort of comp pick.
Maybe we get a 6 out of this. Maybe we get a 7. Nobody's going to sign him to a big money deal, but
I mean, he wasn't in the building working out or part of the team.
No, you're trying to buy the pick.
Yeah. But there's an art to it, and I think this Steeler front office, this isn't an accident, I guess is my point. They knew these picks are coming. I mean, there's no doubt. They knew they're going to lose more than they get. And if it's true that Slay and Rogers are 2 of their targets, well, that's not a coincidence. They don't count.
Yeah.
And DK, that's a trade. You end up with extra picks. I mean, if you go into next year's draft with 11 picks or whatever, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah. You can't stress that enough. Yeah, it's next year.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that the Steelers are punting. I guess the Steelers are just punting on this season. No, they're not
accumulating assets. wisely.
They didn't trade for DK Metcalf because they thought they were going to go 5-12 this year.
I'm sure they were happy with the service Daniels, Moore, Najee, et cetera, gave them. But they knew they were leaving.
Yeah.
And they would rather have the picks and player to be named later.
The other thing
Especially
about
after drafting
this,
tackle in 2 drafts in a row.
they've had some losses, absolutely. They've lost some guys. These are all guys that they had planned to lose and had therefore planned ahead on.
Right. With maybe the exception of Fields, I don't think anybody that's signed elsewhere changes their outlook on the offseason at all. And I don't even know if Fields does, to be honest with you. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, if they end up with Rodgers, I think they have a better chance to win games than Fields for this year. But that's, I mean, to me, it wasn't like, oh, man, we lost out on Najee at the last minute. They knew they were leaving.
They knew he was leaving.
They knew Jackson was leaving. They were all those guys. Right.
They pay, and
they
that's
weren't bringing
where
James Daniels back.
Wait a second. Omar Khan said that you know they were interested in or they were open to re-signing Najee. Well, you say that.
If it was $3 million, they
Yeah,
might.
you say,
Right,
okay,
right.
yeah, we're willing to consider it.
Right.
You know, if he goes out and tests free agency, and
he's gone.
you know, but you know, you pay that lip service to it because you know you respect the player.
Yeah.
You're not going to trash him on his way out the door.
And I don't think they think, oh, he stinks, we don't want him. That's not the avenue to get our next running back.
And we can do better.
We
and
can do
younger,
better. And the running backs
and cheaper
pool is better, and that's
Yeah.
is a better that position doesn't last forever. The other thing too is, you know, like I know they weren't massive moves and didn't pay huge dividends, but like the Mike Williams trade, the Preston Smith trade, if you're in the hunt and you need something at the trade deadline, you're going to sit there with 10 or 11 picks.
You're not going to use all 10 or 11 picks.
Right. I mean, you can easily throw a 6-round pick at a losing team and pick something else up.
Yeah.
And maybe that guy then becomes a free agent after the year and he gets you another one. I mean, you just keep compounding your interest, you know, right?
Yeah, just keep churning them.
Yeah. I mean, he signs a $10 million deal after the season, turn a 6-round pick into a 4th-round pick, and you get the guy.
Yeah. So there's still a lot. Again, this is not two-dimensional thinking here. This is three-dimensional thinking. It's chess, not checkers. You're looking moves ahead with the whole everything in play.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it goes something like, man, free agency, the next week, the Steelers don't add a lot. They add a quarterback and they add something else, a corner or whatever. And you're sitting there a week later like, man, I wish the Steelers would have done more. Well, they could trade next year's 3rd for Jari Alexander or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, whatever.
right.
I mean, whoever's not happy out there, you can go get guys. You got a lot of cards in your hand.
The other thing, look at the teams who have been the most active.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them are good teams?
Well, 2 of them are the Vikings and Patriots that have a rookie quarterback on a deal that they're happy with their quarterback.
Well, the Vikings might be happy with their quarterback. They have
They
no
don't
idea
know.
what
They
he
don't know.
is.
Right. But a first-round, first year working on that operation.
Yeah.
You know, like
He could be a
that's
disaster.
He could be a disaster. But like I'm trying to think of those teams. The Bears were really active. Denver's done a fair amount. Atlanta can't because of the Cousins-Penix situation. They can't benefit from that. And Washington's been really active. They can trade for Tunsil. All those teams drafted a quarterback in the first round next year.
But Washington still had, they have 15 starters going into free agency?
I know they had like 28 free agents.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were one-year rentals and things like that.
So they still have a lot of work to do, and they traded away like half their draft to get Tunsil.
And Debo.
Yeah.
I mean, but they can
To
operate
get 2
that
guys.
way too with a first-round
Right.
quarterback, which might be the Steelers' case a year from now. Maybe it's a first-round quarterback, and you can still be even more active. And again, this is one move sets up the other in a chess-like manner, like you're saying. You know,
Welcome to life for you younger Steeler fans without a franchise quarterback.
yeah. I mean,
This is what it's like.
you'd rather be the Chiefs or Bills or
Absolutely.
or Baltimore that keeps one dude or 2 dudes, and you got your guy, but. It does give you flexibility.
It doesn't mean that you win necessarily because it just gives you a chance. It's what the Steelers always used to talk about. Hey, we have Ben Roethlisberger. We have a chance.
We're in it. Yeah.
Exactly. And they did. They had a chance every year. They didn't win every year, but they had a chance because they had one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
I mean, imagine being the Bills. I mean, Allen's actually well outplayed Mahomes in the postseason over the 6-year stretch. But you're just a little short. You know, like, should they tank? Should they trade everybody? You know, like, should they fire McDermott? You know, like, no. You know, one day, and Manning did the same thing. Manning was a top 2 or 3 quarterback, Peyton, and couldn't get over the hump. This guy's a loser, and then boom, he's not. You know?
Part of the problem with that is that we've now been in the last 20 plus years, 2020, let's say 24 years, basically. It's been Brady and Mahomes.
Oh yeah,
era.
They ate up a lot.
That's
of Super
the era.
Yeah,
Those guys have eaten up a lot of Super Bowl appearances, a lot of Super Bowl wins. It doesn't leave a lot for everybody else.
No, I posted a graph, and some people took it as a positive, and of course some took it as a negative. And it was the top 10 teams over the last decade, their regular season winning percentage. And number one's the Chiefs, and they're really, really high up here. And number two is your Pittsburgh Steelers. And it says all the teams and how many trophies they have over that time. 2 are in Philadelphia, a couple are in New England, who are still in the top 10, but falling off rapidly.
Falling off quickly, yeah.
And a bunch, and all the rest of them are basically in Kansas City. And a lot of people wrote back and like, that's pretty eye-opening. 1,000 people wrote back like, well, show me the playoff wins. I'm like,
That's
I'm
their
aware.
Answer to everything.
I'm aware that they haven't won a playoff game.
I had a guy come at me. Well, they're just going to go
news to me, folks.
They're just going to go 9-8 again. That's the dumbest argument ever. Because you know how many times the Steelers have gone 9-8 in their franchise history? One time, folks.
Probably right.
It's happened once.
Season. Yeah.
It's a 17 games. They've gone 10-7 the last 2 years, so they haven't gone 9-8. They're just going to go 9-8. Right. They haven't gone 9-8 because they've only done it once.
Yep. A lot of people wrote me back when I sent that, going, "Wow, that's pretty darn impressive, especially who their quarterbacks have been the last couple of years." A lot of people are just like, well, now show me the playoff win-loss. So I'm like, I'm aware that they have not, but this is still pretty telling. And I didn't just put it out because it's the Steelers. I mean, it's a lot of those teams in there, the Rams, there was some other teams. Seattle has good winning percentage. No trophies because they're all on Brady's fingers and Mahomes' fingers.
Right. I mean, when those
now
guys.
Philly's got to.
Now you know, I can remember writing this.
Because as soon as they win a playoff game, then we're going to hear, well, when are they going to win a Super Bowl game?
Right. Exactly, 100%. Well, they didn't get to the Super Bowl.
Right. They lost the AFC Championship game, losers.
I can remember writing a column about this when the Steelers lost in 2004 to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, now Steeler fans are getting an idea here of what it was like to be the Raiders in the 70s.
Oh, everyone talked about like how the Oilers were a great team with Earl Campbell, but they were lucky to be runner-up. Or the Raiders. I mean, Steelers had their run of being that team.
Right.
Where it's not much fun for everybody else for 6 years.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is, and you got to. It doesn't mean you stop trying.
Right.
You still try to win. That's the idea, is to try to win. And the Steelers are never going to tank on a season, nor should they.
No, the Raiders shouldn't have traded Clifford Branch and Blitnikoff and Stabler.
Well, we
and
can't
Art
beat
Shell
the Steelers, so we might as well get rid of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Keep banging away.
Yeah, try to win.
Yeah,
they're not going to. Those teams aren't going to win every year.
And back to the original premise here. Free agency's far from over, and the Steelers are far from done. Far from done.
There are many chess moves yet to make.
Mm-hmm. And they're all in progress. And some of them might have to wait until tomorrow after 4.
The quarterback one is a big
yeah.
That's the queen on the board. Everything works off of that.
Yep.
Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, let's talk quarterback.
Yeah, all right.
So, let's say, for example, Aaron Rodgers decides to sign with the Giants.
Okay.
And the Steelers decide, you know what? Maybe we don't want Russell Wilson again.
Okay. Fair.
What other options are available to them?
I don't see a lot. I mean,
Kirk Cousins would be one.
And I would understand it. I don't love his style of play. When the Steelers saw him in week 1, he was not good, and their pass rush was pretty dominant. Now, I will say there was a stretch where he got a lot better, a lot more comfortable, and then he claims it was like week 10 or so, right when he was getting benched. He's like, I got hurt right at this point, and he was really bad from that point on.
Yeah.
It was like the last 4 or 5 games, then he got benched. If you could get that version in the middle or the Vikings version, you could be a good football team with Kirk Cousins. but the mobility is worrisome.
He's even older than Russell Wilson.
They're the same draft class, and he's older.
Yeah, he's basically a full year older than Wilson.
Yeah. So I don't love that either. That's for sure. Now I'm quiet. Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, I think, is an okay football player that doesn't fit here at all with who the head coach is and the turnovers.
No. So I was doing some research today.
Who are trade candidates?
The Buccaneers signed Tom Brady after the 2019 season. They didn't do a whole else lot in free agency. They
had a good team.
They basically brought the same team back from 2019 to 2020, just taking Jameis Winston, plucking him out,
and
taking
the Hall of Famer in,
your claw arm and dropping
Tom
Brady in.
Huge reason Brady went there.
Yeah,
they had like Wirfs and Evans. They had dudes in place.
They went from 7-9 to 11-5 and winning the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl, right?
Because
went on super hot streak.
The quarterback didn't throw 30 interceptions and fumble 10 times.
Yep. And if you remember, they had a bye week in like week 10 that year.
It was not great before that.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And then they basically said, all right, Tom, take over this thing.
Do what you do.
I don't think they lost again.
Yeah.
And Brady's pretty good.
Brady's pretty good.
So I don't think you're implying that the claw arm's going to find a Brady and drop him into Pittsburgh.
But that was a 43-year-old Tom.
Although Rodgers is pretty good,
That was a 43-year-old Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is 2 years younger than that. Russell Wilson's 7 years younger than that.
Mm-hmm. And all three are possible or probable Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Could there be somebody else out there that we don't know about at this point?
Maybe, but I'm straining to find that name. Now, I know he just restructured his contract, but I think the Saints can still trade
They can move on from Derek Carr. Yeah.
I don't think that's their intentions at all. And I don't think he's a bad player. I think he gets a little bit of a bum rap, and I wish he was more aggressive. But I think he's a good player. I think you could pry him away. There's some projects, to be kind, with like a Joe Milton or an Anthony Richardson or a
They're the same guy.
Lance.
Anthony Richardson and Joe Milton are the same dude.
Right. And
just one is younger than the other one.
And Trey
they
Lance
can throw the ball a mile.
Considered
an option. Can't complete a
right.
Just
none of those
an average pass.
They're my goal here. Now Daniel Jones is off the market since we got together last.
Right.
He would have been my first name mentioned with Cousins after that question, but he is a Colt. I don't know. We can go team by team and see if there's anybody that comes to mind, but it's hard.
What about calling San Francisco
for Purdy? I think you could pry him away. I don't love him. I know you don't love him.
I don't love him either.
Right.
But they're in a rebuild right now. What they're calling a reset. Because
their free agencies looked a lot like the Steelers. It's like comp pick.
They can't afford anybody right now.
Right.
And they got to pay Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't love the player.
Right. I know you're just spitballing and not.
I'm just throwing it out there. Like that could be.
I think he's a guy that could be had.
Yeah.
I don't love it. You'd have to pay him. What
Right.
would he cost you in draft compensation? But I don't think he's a terrible player. I mean,
no,
I
he's
like
not.
him.
He's not a terrible player, but
I was really hard on him his rookie year. I'm like, this guy's not very good, but he's better than that. I don't know that I want my wagon hitched to him though for a 3 or 4 year deal or whatever.
Which brings me back to Rodgers and Wilson.
Right.
They're the two best options.
Oh, they are. I mean, because neither one prevents you from taking a quarterback you can't believe is still there in any round this year.
We're drafting one next year.
Moving up to the first pick in the draft if you want next year.
Yeah.
I mean, or anything in between. So, and at this stage, there's no way Rodgers causes a fuss with that. Like with the low pick.
He's got to know.
He's got to know. Right. Yeah. I think they are the best two options without question. I can't come up with one I like.
And I can't see there's a lot of teeth gnashing. Well, again, this is just going to be equal 9 and 8. How do you figure that?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're upgrading their roster. They've already upgraded the rosters. They've solved the receiver problem. Okay, if you look at the holes on the roster right now, they need assuming, until Darius Slay is in the building, you need another starting outside cornerback.
Looks like that's probably solved, though, for now.
A running back to pair with Jaylen Warren, which you can get in the draft.
I need more D-line stuff.
Some D-line help. But
Ogunjobi's gone, right.
That could be, again, taking Keanu Benton, kicking him out the defensive end, and signing one of these, Devon Gottschall got traded, but...
Yeah. He's an LSU guy who went back to the Saints. But
those dudes are available, man.
Run-stuffing nose tackles are available.
Like $4 million a year.
Yeah. You can find...
And they last till they're 70.
They last to $1 million
Hell,
years.
you could sign Calais Campbell.
Oh, you can sign all those guys, right?
Yeah, to a one-year deal.
Yeah. I mean, he was not your nose, but he would help you win football games.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of those guys out there. And draft one. Right.
Maybe two.
The third-round nose tackles will be very attractive. I mean, there's no question about that in my mind. There's one other need you didn't mention, though.
Okay.
They need number 2 quarterback, too.
Well, they need that, but I think you can get Kyle Allen back. And
I'm not comfortable with him as my 2. I would like better than that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not asking for Bradshaw or Ben.
I don't want. If I'm drafting one,
I don't know if I'm drafting one this year, though.
I'm taking a quarterback in every damn draft.
I like that
until
approach.
I find one.
I love that approach, and that's a Packers forever approach.
I don't care if it's a 7th rounder. I'm taking a damn quarterback this year, and he's going to be in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, they're just a little short on picks. I don't dislike that at all. But what about if you have Rodgers or Wilson? I'd consider a Mac Jones or a Rudolph or somebody like that. That's $5 million a year. I can't believe Zach Wilson just got a 1-year, $6 million deal. He stinks. But someone that doesn't, Mac Jones, looked good. He's not the mobile guy you want, but he played well last year. He could be my 2.
No,
you know what I mean? I can win games with him.
I'd be open to doing something like that, but I don't know that you don't need. It's not going to be something that breaks the bank.
No.
They'll find
sets you back.
They'll find a number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm not concerned about that at all.
But they do have to go to camp with 3 more guys than they have.
Yeah, but you've got a draft in which I like. A lot of the
I like the mid-round guys a lot.
Yeah, the mid-round guys more so than I like the early round guys in most cases.
This isn't the draft. I'm moving up 5 spots for Shedeur or anything. Right.
No.
It'd be an interesting conversation if Shedeur is there at 21. I don't think he will be, and I still don't love it, but I would understand it.
Yeah. But you don't have massive holes on this roster right now. You could line up, again, quarterback aside.
Right. That's going to get solved.
And play games tomorrow if you had to with a viable.
Assuming Slay's in the mix. And Right. I mean, and Metcalf and Slay fill true holes.
Yeah.
The D-line you couldn't run with at the moment.
Sure you could.
Yeah, you only got 4 guys, 5 guys.
Yeah, but
you just lost a starter. I mean, Benton and Cam are fine, obviously, more than fine. But
you can play. I mean, Montravius Adams could be your nose right now, and Benton's your end, and you're fine. Now you don't have a lot of depth,
right?
But you've got to start. You've got a starting type.
Yes.
Is it ideal? No.
Right.
You want to shoot for better than that. That's what the draft is for.
And it is a good D-line draft.
You need more at running back. I think that's one of the reasons why at this point they haven't done anything with Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, just because you
got to wait.
Yeah, you got to wait. Right.
Make sure you get something. They're not going to sign one in free agency though.
I don't think, unless there's some bargain you can't pass up. But I can't imagine that.
So,
nor would I.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending $5 million plus on Jaylen Warren this year with the tender offer. Then you go cheap, and
I mean, I don't love the slot situation if you were to go right now, but they're like nose tackles where you can find slots that you can live with.
With those 2 guys on the outside, you could get open.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
I like Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson's
No, I was talking about
chances.
defense.
Oh,
slot
okay. I see
corner.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm not worried about the slots on offense. They don't run 3 receivers out that much.
I mean,
anyway.
other than having another running back and a quarterback, well, I say other than.
Yeah, it's obviously a big deal.
But the offense is pretty damn set.
It is. I mean, the Metcalf trade
shored up a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. It's not, I'm hoping Ibuka's good enough. Or
if Metcalf had been a true free agent.
Oh. He makes more than everybody else.
He would have been a number 1 free agent wide receiver.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
I mean, considering age
injuries,
Adams and all those guys. And there's even like the Amari Coopers are still out there, and Diggs and Kupp's about to be. I mean, there's a lot of these guys that have warts because of age, but that doesn't mean they stink.
Right. They can still play.
Yeah.
But Metcalf would have been the most attractive guy at, at 27. He just turned 27.
He probably gets 32 a year, 3-year, $100 million, something like that.
In the market of where the Steelers paid him.
I would say more.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what would the Patriots have given him on the open market, or the Chargers?
The Patriots who've signed all the signings the Patriots have done and
like
made.
All defense.
It's all defense.
Yeah.
They've added nothing to the offense, which was the problem.
Right. Well, Vrabel's the head coach now too. I mean, they got Morgan Moses, who's a respectable adult in the room for a year or two, and then I bet their whole draft is offense.
Has to be.
Seattle's another one like that.
Yeah.
Too. Like you trade Geno, you trade Metcalf, you need a guard, a center, maybe another guard, another receiver or two, and maybe a tight end, and maybe another quarterback even. Like, it's going to be all offense.
Yeah.
But New England's funny that way because they could have got anything they wanted.
Right. They had all the money. And maybe they're waiting on some prices to come down on some of these receivers. They didn't want to pay it. But, I mean, Godwin was one that everybody had linked to them, and I'm going to take $22 million a year to stay in.
And I wonder if they would have been like Trey Smith or one of those bigger name guard center type guys that they didn't get a shot at. You know, right.
It's free agency. When you talk about free agency, it's not only free agency for the teams.
Yeah,
it's free agency for the players too. They get to pick and choose where they want to go.
Some of these interior offensive linemen, I mean, it screams to me. I actually just sent you my interior line rankings that people aren't super psyched about going into this draft to find a starting guard or, way unlike last year, a starting center.
Yeah.
I mean,
let alone a tackle.
But I mean, this offensive line class to me is not screaming help you now.
I don't even think it's an average one.
No, I don't either. Because again, the tackles are guards and
you know. Like all the tackles in this draft class all have short arms for the most part.
Right.
Unless you're a mid-round guy he's a project.
He's a project. He's not.
But he's got arm length.
Yet.
He's got the length. But everybody else, all the first-round, second-round guys are all like 32-inch arms, 32-inch arms.
Yeah. I mean,
they're like little alligator arms.
And hope that's good enough.
Yeah.
And Dan Moore says thanks.
Yeah. Right.
Or Jalen Moore says thanks.
Oh,
he was a backup. But like last year's center class. Everyone knows the top three, and Powers Johnson did not play in center, but I think he will.
He will.
They
just cut James.
Yeah. But even like BB became a center. Limmer's now a starting center. Like there's 5 or 6 from that class that are going to be opening day starters. This year, this class might not have any.
Might not
or
have
one.
Not have a single one. Yeah.
Right. So
unless
the Bears go out and give Dahlman
take a Gray Zabel, move him to center, or something like that. But
right. Maybe the Georgia dude or whatever. But if you're in a center need.
You're in trouble.
Last year was the year to do it.
Yeah.
It's very Steeler relevant, obviously.
Yeah, and again, when they took 3 offensive linemen in last year's draft, we looked at, Mason McCormick, that was just a value pick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no.
Take every lineman you get.
He's going to be starting this year.
I wonder, not even knowing what his rookie year was. Like, remember we talked about McCormick could be a fallback option at center.
Yeah.
But he was pretty darn good tape. Not Zabel level, but I mean at a similar school and situation, tested really well. But I was thinking about that today. I did my top 5 interior offensive linemen. I'm like, McCormick might have been 5th for me this year. You know what I mean? Like
or
higher. I mean, he didn't have to fight Frazier and Powers Johnson and Graham Barton. He had no chance to be in the top 5 last year. I mean, they were loaded.
Yeah, It just depends on how you view. I'll be interested to get into that a little bit more when I start putting our rankings together and everything. Who do you consider a guard? Who do you consider a tackle?
I had a tough time with it.
If they had an OT next to their name, I ranked them as a tackle because I just assume teams are going to try them there first.
Try them there first, yeah.
Especially if you take them in the first round.
Yeah. Even Membo might be the first one off the board, or certainly Will Johnson. I mean, Campbell. I mean, these guys are potential top 10 picks
with 32-inch arms.
And I mean, I don't think he's a tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no.
You got to be extremely athletic.
Yeah.
Extremely athletic to play tackle with 32-inch arms.
There really isn't an example. I mean, it's funny because Mike Pursuit's putting the list together too, and he sent me a text. He's like, "What's the magic number on arms again?" I'm like, "They all want 34 plus, which is pretty darn hard to find."
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them in the league. And I said, if you're under 34, it's a red flag on every board. But if you're under 33, there's like 0 for 100 chances. Nobody's. I mean, the Joe Thomases and the Penny Sewells are between 33 and 34, and otherwise there's like a 0% hit rate.
Yeah,
and Campbell's at 32.5 or whatever. Like maybe he's the one. He's
Membo's,
got good tape.
Membo's, I think 32.
I think he's longer.
I don't think it was much, if it was any.
He shocked me because I went back and I made him my number 1 tackle because I think his arm length was noticeably more than I thought because he's got that weird wide body. He doesn't look like he has long arms, but I think he measured pretty well.
I think I have him here.
I think he's going to be the first O-lineman off the board.
Campbell has 32 and 5/8. Membo is 32 inches even.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were longer.
So at least the measurements I saw.
Okay. I looked at that CBS one you sent us a while
Maybe
back.
you got them backwards.
No, I knew that Campbell was too short.
So, I mean, so you knew that going into last year.
Well, all these teams know it with these guys, too.
Which is why you drafted 3 guys and you set yourself up to not have to take an offensive lineman this year. You could allow Dan Moore to walk into free agency knowing
he's going to get a third
he's
round
going to
pick.
get he's going to get a big payday and net you a 3rd-round pick.
Right.
James Daniel. All right, we're going to move on. We got Mason McCormick in the building here. We don't have to re-sign James Daniels.
It's the beauty of when in doubt drafting an offensive lineman because the guy you have
They're always in.
Like, hey, I like Isaac Seumalo, but his contract's up after the year. If he doesn't fall on his face next year, someone's going to pay him in free agency.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a guarantee. I mean, he's going to get starter money. He's going to get $10+ million for sure 1 year from now, which will yield you a pick.
Yeah.
Like at the trade deadline, if the Chiefs called the Steelers who needed a left tackle and said, we're really interested in Dan Moore, you wouldn't have got a 3rd-round pick for him.
No.
This is a better deal than that.
Absolutely.
Even a desperate team trying to win a Super Bowl, they would have offered you a 6 or 5 or something,
Yeah.
It's a year late, but it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming down the road.
You can't trade your 3rd in the meantime.
It's a bird in hand.
Yeah.
Like okay, this is out there. This is what you got.
They're really doing it well. The Niners are another team. They're really doing it well right now.
Yeah. So you did that. You set yourself up, and now you got to take advantage of it with the best quarterback option for 2025. And I don't care about 2026.
Well, I want to be able to be fluid in 2026.
That's fine.
Right.
But I think a lot of people are getting stuck, and they were doing this with Justin Fields as well. Well, he gives you a better future. Maybe. I don't know if Justin Fields. I don't want to. I didn't want to pay $40 million over 2 years to think maybe Justin Fields finally gets it.
Yeah, and Darnold has a little of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't want to pay $35 million a year to find that out over 3 years.
Right.
Now I'm married to the guy for probably at least 2 years. I don't want a Kirk Cousins situation.
Right. Like, I don't know. I bet Seattle, if they have a terrible year, could probably stomach taking a quarterback in the 1st round next year. It's not that terrible. But, like, the Cousins situation, they don't make money, because of that, Back to your Purdy, I know you're not, like, lobbying for Purdy.
No, I just threw it out there.
He's a guy I think you could trade for. But if you trade for him, and I'm sure this is what the Niners are thinking too, well, now I'm not fluid in the quarterback market.
Now I've locked up. Now I've taken
a 3-year deal and give him 75 guaranteed,
and he probably wants
160. Right. And I mean, what is it? A 4-year deal at 200, half of it guaranteed. Well, if he turns into a pumpkin, the Niners can't go quarterback in the 1st round after that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be the Saints.
You don't want to be the Saints.
And all of a sudden,
Browns are starting to fall into that category.
Right.
Although if they took Cam Ward this year, it would kind of relieve them.
I don't think he gets get Cam Ward.
I think the Titans are screaming, we're taking Cam Ward.
What you don't want to have is like the Derek Carr situation, where you go out and you sign a quarterback to a long-term deal, again, a 4-year deal that you can't get out of.
And he's good, not great.
Right.
If it's Josh Allen, you don't care. Right. But if he's good, not great, and you got to Spencer Rattler it and hope one of those guys hits, best of luck,
Yeah, it's tough.
It's real tough.
It's tough. And so until you find that guy, again, you might have a different quarterback room every year. And we've seen the Steelers have a different quarterback room.
Yeah.
But until you find that guy, folks, this is what the 80s looked like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've mentioned on the show, but with Fields signing with the Jets, this upcoming year will be the 5th season in a row that there's a new opening day Steeler quarterback. It's not ideal, but that doesn't mean you stop trying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You just keep trying. 5th year in a row? I don't think so.
I think so.
So you had Fields, Pickett, Trubisky,
Someone between him and Ben, I think.
Roethlisberger. 4.
Is it 4 in a row?
Yeah.
Okay. I think someone tweeted it to me, and I didn't fact check it.
That was Chris
but-
Adamski. He was wrong.
He didn't send it to me. Someone must have cut and pasted. Okay.
He tweeted it out earlier today. He must have been wrong about that.
Okay. I saw it a couple days
It's
ago.
4.
It's 4. Okay. Yeah, Ben did start. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't miss any time there. But, yeah, until you find that guy, you just keep, like every other position, you got to keep churning.
This will be 5.
This will be 5.
This will be 5.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
this will be the 5th because Fields won't be the starter this year.
Right.
Right. So this.
But
will be
he
the 5th.
wasn't supposed to be the starter.
No, that's a little misleading.
That's
if Wilson would be the starter this year in week 1, the streak really ends.
the idea, and I keep seeing it out there. Well, the Steelers, when they benched Justin Fields. No, Russell Wilson was supposed to be the starter from the beginning.
He was the starter.
He was the starter.
Right.
All Mike Tomlin did was reinsert the starter back in when he was healthy.
Yeah. I got a lot of things after he agreed with the Jets. Well, he doesn't trust the Steelers because they benched him and they said he was the starter. Like, no. He said I wasn't good enough, and the whole planet knew Wilson was the starter. He just was injured.
Right. He was the backup.
Right. He's a backup.
He wasn't even supposed to be in the picture until Kenny Pickett decided he would take his ball and run to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Now he's a Brownie.
Now he's a Brown.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to a
the world
break.
turns.
He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And a couple of minor signings here taking place. Nothing. Leonard Floyd heading to Atlanta.
Yeah, I saw that. They're looking for pass rush anyway. They can get it,
Peyton Turner, a former first-round pick, the Saints in 2021, is headed to the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Minor deals.
Yeah. Not needle movers.
Washington re-signed Jeremy McNichols to a 1-year deal. Mike Hughes is back with the Falcons. But
nothing earth-shattering the last hour or two.
Yeah, I mean, today has been much quieter than yesterday.
Yeah, the Vikings were real busy. I mean, they signed 2 interior linemen.
Well, they haven't signed them yet, and they can't.
No, I was talking about the offensive line.
Oh, I see.
Fries and the 2 Colts, and then Allen.
And
They're Hargrave's
looming with Hargrave, but that doesn't mean somebody else couldn't step in and trump that.
Right. Hargrave's still in
because he's
right.
June 1st cut.
Yeah. He doesn't become available till 4:00 tomorrow when we will be coming to you live.
Do you have a favorite deal yet or a favorite match?
A lot of the ones that were retained, like Khalil Mack and Godwin and stuff like that. Nothing blowing me away. I mean, one that's kind of hits close to home. I think Najee found a good landing spot. I mean, I think he's a better Gus Edwards and fits that system well. I mean, I don't think that's a massive. He's not Barkley or Jacobs or Henry,
but he'll
help.
He'll get 1,100 yards out there.
Yeah, I mean, we just mentioned the Vikings. It's funny to me. Everyone when the Steelers before Darnold went to Seattle, of course, you get mentioned a ton of times. Well, Steelers and Darnold, what do you think of that? Like, well, they have a way better coaching staff. He has Justin Jefferson. He's got the best line. I'm like, they have a terrible line. Everyone just assumes that, the Vikings, Darisaw was out for almost the whole year, by far their best lineman. The interior line's been bad for 5 years.
That's why Darnold looked bad at the end of the year.
Right. I mean,
couldn't block.
Nobody blocked for him for the last 2 games, especially the last one. And but they addressed it. They went and got Kelly and they got Fries. So I think that was good.
My two favorite
is there anything
moves.
to jump out at you?
My 2 favorite moves are the 2 trades.
Metcalf and
Tunsil.
Yeah, I like the Tunsil move. I don't understand what Houston's doing.
I don't know either.
They made 2 trades, both high pedigree guys. Now Green hasn't been great for them. It's the other Green. It's not the Steeler Green. But their protection was like the worst in the league. And I know a lot of it was blamed on scheme and pass pro problems and all these type of things.
You got to replace those guys with somebody.
But who's going to block?
Yeah,
I don't.
If we're doing, Houston Nation Radio or Texas Nation Radio right now, I'm going, huh?
Right.
What are we doing on the offensive line, folks?
And again, back to rewind a half hour ago. Yeah, you can get some guys in the draft. I'm sure they'll draft O-line like crazy.
But it's not a great offensive line draft.
And you're just going to plug and play them as your starters?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand that at all.
Just because they're different? They're not the guys that were there last year?
Yeah, right. And I'm looking at Washington going, maybe Tunsil ain't what he used to be, but you can't get left tackles. I mean, if you got to go get Dan Moore at $20 million a year or take a chance on Tunsil for a couple picks.
Cam Robinson or something.
Right.
What are you doing?
I mean, yeah, give me Tunsil.
Yeah.
And I'll roll with that.
Yeah, so it's odd.
Yeah, I'm trying to think other fits. I think Holland's a really good player. Giants did a couple good things. I'm sure there's overpays in there.
Oh, there's a lot of overpays.
Tons of overpays.
Yeah.
Like Javonte Williams of the Cowboys happened in the last 24 hours. That doesn't change my tune on their running back situation at all. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been strange thus far.
I do like
because it wasn't a great free agent class.
No, it's not. It's not. And maybe because he's fresh on your tip of your tongue after the Super Bowl, but I like Sweat going to the Cardinals. I mean, now they have respectable D-line with last year's first-round pick, and they have some different body types there. So it used to be so bad. I mean, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
Vikings retained Murphy, was a guy we liked, and I have a feeling he was never leaving. Some of those that stay on their team a day or two after free agency, they probably knew that they would have a deal rolling along here every step of the way. There weren't a lot of moves I thought, wow, that's a big game changer, though.
No, for sure.
I'm trying to scan the league in my head. I give the Bears credit for rebuilding the interior of their O-line, kind of like the Vikings conversation we just had, but it was costly.
It's costly, and I don't know that it's going to fix Caleb Williams' issue of holding on to the football.
No, but you'll know.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll definitely know, and I bet they have a running game. I mean, what if they draft Genty or something like that? I'd consider that. But then they signed some D linemen that I thought they vastly overpaid for.
Yeah,
they were okay, but they're not great.
Anyways, that's going to do it for hour number 1 of The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, let's talk a little draft again.
Yeah, you can't get too far off. Right.
This hasn't fallen off here. The draft is still going to be held in April.
Yeah, it's like 40 days away or 42 days away or something like that. Yeah.
Kyle Krabs on the 33rd team has put together his post-combine top 150.
Okay, nice.
So let's take a look at that and see who's moving up, moving down, at least in his eyes. People need to understand that guys move up or down for the prognosticators.
Depends on what gets leaked out of buildings to some degree, and some of it they want you to know.
Guys don't get moved up and down a great deal on team boards.
No.
They have a good idea of where they have these guys ranked.
Yeah. Again, like maybe the Steelers, through the Senior Bowl combine process, there's more D linemen than we even thought.
Yeah, I like this guy better than I did.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But they're slight adjustments. It's not fifth rounders turning the first round.
Yeah, so you're not seeing guys, he's a big riser up the board. No, he's a big riser up your board.
Because you didn't know about it.
Yeah, right. Because you didn't watch all the tape.
500 guys to analyze, and they have a whole squad.
Quite frankly, there's so much groupthink out there.
Well, there's that.
Whoever puts out the first list.
I mean, Kuiper even says that on his podcast. Or, Daniel Jeremiah, if he puts someone in his top 50,
Yeah,
I had him in my
I
third round.
I
better bump him up. Right. Yeah, there's so much group.
There's a lot of groupthink.
Mm-hmm.
So he still has Travis Hunter at number 1.
He would be my 1.
He has Abdul Carter at 2.
Okay.
Ashton Genty at 3.
Yeah.
Will Johnson at 4.
He's a good football player, but
the tape is good.
Yeah.
I don't know how well he runs.
I don't think if Genty's 3, he's not putting a lot of position value.
Yeah.
He's just the grades he put out.
Pure, this is what they put out there.
Right.
He has Will Campbell, he can list him as a guard out of LSU at 5. Mm-hmm. He's a good player.
He's a good player, too. Right.
He has Shamar Stewart at 6.
I don't understand it, but I understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a heavy top draft. He's got tons of ability.
He's got traits. The Texas A&M guys.
Coaches would say, give me him all day long. He doesn't make plays.
No. Josh Simmons at 7. the
I
offensive
also
tackle out of Ohio
understand
State.
that,
Yeah.
but you got to get the clean bill of health.
Traits and
Right.
Mason,
you can make the argument he's
yeah.
the best tackle in the draft.
He has Mason Graham at 8.
Okay.
He's not my top tackle. He's not my second tackle.
I'm not super impressed either. He was my number 1, but I don't think he's a special player at all.
No. At 9, he has Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia.
High-quality player, right. It's funny. A lot of people are down on him. Well, 2 things. Onuware went crazy, so all of a sudden that makes Starks worse for some reason. I mean, again, this guy's up, this guy's down. And I guess he didn't have he had bad change of direction drills. He did the shuttle and he did the 3-cone. But a couple people that really got into it were like, all the drills, he had the best miles per hour of anybody. He was the cleanest drill guy. You know, he probably didn't do some of these guys most of these guys don't even run the shuttles and 3-cones anymore. I give him credit for even going out there.
At 10, he has Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas.
I love him.
Yeah, the only knock on him is he's got short arms.
Yeah, he's
everybody in this draft, short arms.
Yeah, it's
a short arm draft.
It really is. Yep.
What's going on with this age group?
This group, right?
These short arms.
Something they ate.
Stretch these kids a little bit. At 11, Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant's my number 1 defensive tackle.
I don't blame you one bit.
I think
he's way freakier than his teammate.
He is freaky. I just think
if he hits big, it'll be higher than if Graham hits big.
Yeah. At 12, Armand Membo, the offensive lineman out of Missouri.
That's his second lineman.
Yeah.
No, third. He had the Ohio State too.
Yeah. Michael Williams out of Georgia at 13. Mike Green out of Marshall at 14. Siobhan Ravel, cornerback out of East Carolina at 15.
I'm super impressed with him too. I mean, I think he's freakier than given credit for. He just hasn't been able to test.
Tyler Warren at 16.
Fair.
Cameron Ward at 17.
I would have him higher. I think Ward's a really good prospect.
Jalen Walker out of Georgia at 18. Jihad Campbell out of Alabama at 19. Emeka Egbuka at 20, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. He is nowhere close to my number 1 receiver.
No, mine either. I heard some rumblings. They think he's going to run in low 4.3s. I'm like, well, why didn't you run at the combine?
Yeah,
I mean, I know he played late in the season.
When all the other guys were running out there, you should have done it.
He didn't look that way as Ohio. I watched more Ohio State than probably anyway because they played so late. And I think he's a really good prospect, but I can't imagine him running the low 4.3s.
No. Maybe will in that Ohio State. The Ohio State track is notoriously fast.
Yeah, it's 38 yards and downhill.
At 21, he is Nick Scourton.
A little rich for me
That's
on that,
rich for
but
me.
I do like him losing weight and what we saw at the combine version.
Now he is a pure edge. He's back to what he was at Purdue. Texas A&M
didn't do him any favors at all.
They never do.
They never do.
They never do.
They have 3.
All these guys either when they go to Texas A&M, they have no production.
Mm-hmm.
When they go somewhere else, they have production.
But A&M also pays huge NILs because they're oil money, and so people go there. Right.
Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle out of Oregon at 22.
Pure tackle, yeah.
Matthew Golden at 23, the wide receiver out of Texas.
I would take him over Ibuka all day long. Yeah.
Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle out of Texas at 24.
I didn't really know where to put him in my tackle ranks either. I don't think he's a difference maker, but
he'll be a starting right tackle.
He will. He's good in protection, but
Nick Emuari at 25, the safety out of South Carolina. Donovan Ezereku, the edge rusher out of Boston College at 26.
It's a guy you'd love to see go in the top 20,
Quinshawn Junkins.
Wow.
At 27.
That's his second running back.
That's his second running back.
I understand it. I prefer Hampton, but I'm a Junkins believer.
Yeah. Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama at 28. Derek Harmon out of Oregon at 29.
I'm still torn if I would take him at 21 or not.
Carson Sweshinger, the linebacker at UCLA at 30. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame at 31.
Quality football player.
Takes the ball away.
He's big on the safeties.
Yeah. Tedoroic McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona at 32.
I understand him being that low.
I don't think he's going to run well.
I don't think he's going to run well either. I like him. I don't love him.
He's big. He makes plays, but he's not going to run away from anybody in the NFL.
No, he's not.
Trey Amos, cornerback out of Mississippi at 33.
He's really growing on me.
Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan at 34.
Fair.
Darian Porter, the cornerback out of Iowa State at 35.
Interesting. I don't know if we've talked enough about him. I think he's a 6-year player. I know he's been around a long time. And it took him till either this year or last year to move him to corner. He's total freak.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's also a demon special teamer, which I didn't know until recently. I mean, 6'4" long corners usually aren't great special teamers.
Right. He is.
So he'll stick his face in there,
36, Luther Burden, the wide receiver out of Missouri.
Okay.
37, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback out of Colorado.
That's what he is to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an early second-round guy that, a grade for me.
38, Alec Yemenor, wide receiver out of Stanford.
He was my fifth one, but I had a tough time deciding who number 5 was.
39, Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky.
I think he goes in the first when it's all said and done after his comment.
40 is Walter Nolan, defensive lineman out of Ole Miss.
People seem to be souring on him, and I guess there's some off-the-field stuff, but the tape is good.
Nobody can say what it is.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'd like to know what it is before I bump him all the way down to 40.
Mm-hmm. And he's not the only one on here that's had off-field issues or rumblings.
He's the poster guy for leaving Texas A&M.
Is that where he started?
He started at Texas A&M as the number 1 recruit in the country.
Right.
Transfers to Ole Miss.
And it's a lot better.
And has way more production at Ole Miss than he had in his entire first 2 years at
It's not uncommon for this class, but if you look at his low-light tape, it's like, what's this guy doing? But if you look at his highlight tape, it's like, why is he in the first pick of the draft?
Yeah.
So he's a little all over the place, but let Cam Hayward put his arm around him. And
41, Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota.
I could see him going maybe even to the Chiefs at 31.
He has the arm length.
Yeah.
42, Jacob Parrish, the cornerback out of K-State.
A little short, but everything else. I don't know that he's just a slot. I thought he was just a slot a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
43 is Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. He was my fifth wide receiver.
He was my just missed. Yeah. I'm a fan.
44, James Pierce, the edge rusher out of Tennessee. Another one of those guys, he's got this off the field stuff.
Right.
Turn the tape on, it's like, there's a lot to like.
Yeah, Combine was pretty impressive, too.
45, Alfred Collins, the defensive lineman from Texas.
I wouldn't mind him being in Latrobe in a couple months.
46, Tyleek Williams out of Ohio State, the other defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Those noses are, if we had to do a list of just noses, that would be a really tough ranking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
47 is Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU.
He was my third tight end easily.
48, Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame.
Who knows?
49, Andrew Makuba, safety out of Texas.
Does a lot of stuff well.
Yeah. 50, Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman from North Dakota State.
Someone like Makuba, it won't happen for the Steelers, but if they had a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and this was a deeper draft, usually you get that guy like in the end of the third. He'll be gone by then.
Yeah.
And, it'd be useful for everybody.
51, Elijah Arrojo, the tight end out of Miami. 52, Jack Betch, wide receiver from TCU.
He could be a Steeler. I'd be fine with that.
53, Darius Alexander, defensive lineman from Toledo.
A little older than you'd love for a D lineman, but there's a lot there to like.
54, TJ Sanders, defensive lineman out of South Carolina. 55 is Jared Ivey out of Mississippi. 56.
Do you think he's a fit here? I don't really.
No.
Yeah.
50,
I haven't put a lot of time into him.
56 is Tate Ratledge out of Georgia.
He was my fifth interior guy.
57, Travion Henderson.
I'd probably have him higher.
Running back out of Ohio State. Amarian Hampton hasn't been mentioned yet.
Right?
58, JT Tuimoloau, edge rusher out of Ohio State. 59 is Landon Jackson, edge rusher out of Arkansas.
I think he'll go pretty high.
61, Jalen Noel, the other Iowa State wide receiver. I'll take
both those guys. Right. They're different, but I'll take either one.
Omar Norman Lott, defensive lineman out of Tennessee at 62. Ashton Gillette, edge rusher out of Louisville at 63. 64 is Jonah Saivania, offensive lineman from Arizona. Danny Stutzman at 65, the linebacker from Oklahoma.
Not many pure linebackers.
There really aren't. I don't understand why he's not. Like, a lot of the stuff that I see out there, he's in the 150s, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
Good football player.
I don't either. But all these teams re-signed their linebackers. Yeah, they don't want to go shopping in those waters this year.
66 is Demetrius Knight, the linebacker out of South Carolina. 67 is Marcus Mbao, offensive lineman from Purdue.
He missed my top 5, but was in the conversation for interior line.
68, Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa.
Hampton should be way. I mean, I'm not getting what the.
I don't know what's going
whatever
on. For
reason
that.
he doesn't like Hampton.
69 is Xavier Restrepo.
That's a good football player too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little too slottish for the Steelers, considering how they're built. But I bet he catches a lot of balls in the next level.
70 is Braden Swinson, the edge rusher out of LSU.
People really like him as a potential second rounder.
71 is Ozzie Trapillo, offensive tackle out of BC.
He'll go higher than that just because he's a true tackle.
Yeah. Anthony Belton is at 72, the offensive tackle from NC State. Jamari Caldwell, the defensive lineman from Oregon, at 73.
He could be a Steeler.
Shamar Turner, the other
A&M
defensive
guy,
lineman
yeah.
from A&M. 75 is Aziri Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. 76, Bayshell Tootin. Did I miss Omari and Hampton here somewhere? I had to.
There's no way he's not in the top 7 running backs.
Where
Maybe he's really high.
Did I miss him up top? I got to look here now.
Or maybe Kyle missed him.
Maybe he did.
Maybe
you think
deleted
somebody,
that. Sometimes you build lists and you
I
delete
get it.
something by accident, or I forgot to.
I read through this the other day, and I didn't recognize that Omari and Hampton is nowhere to be found. That doesn't make much sense.
I wonder if he screwed up.
Did I skip over one here? I'm not seeing him. Well, maybe he'll show up later here.
Wow.
I just missed it.
Maybe he hates him, or maybe he missed him.
He would
I don't
really hate him.
Right. I mean, I can't believe he's running back 7 or 8.
No. Oh, there he is at 60.
Okay, so did we
He
skip
was
him?
after Landon Jackson, and there was an ad in there, and I missed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but still, it's late.
That's very late.
Right. I mean, I'd consider him at 21.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he gets to 21.
Yeah. Where are we at here? At 70. We're at 71 now. No, I'm sorry. Bayshell Tootin at 76.
That's what we had. Okay.
Running back out of Virginia Tech. Donovan Jackson, the offensive lineman from Ohio State, at 77. Prince Yu at 78.
Okay.
Jordan Birch, the other edge rusher out of Oregon, at 79.
Big edge, yeah.
Josiah Stewart at 80, the edge rusher out of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
81.
He's kind of cooled off. There was a lot of buzz of him going to the Senior Bowl. And
Trey Harris is at 81, wide receiver out of Mississippi. Kyle Kennard, edge rusher out of South Carolina, at 82. Jack Sawyer at 83, the edge rusher out of Ohio State. Cameron Williams at 84, the offensive lineman out of Texas. Chase Lunt, the offensive lineman out of UConn, at 85. Charles Grant at 86, the offensive tackle out of William & Mary.
Lunt and Grant seem like the projects.
Yeah.
Maybe the Steelers would be interested in 3rd round or something.
Jeffrey Bassa is at 87, a linebacker out of
Another
Oregon.
linebacker, yeah.
Dylan Sampson, the running back out of Tennessee, at 88.
It's pretty crazy that guy's like the 9th running back.
Yeah.
And he might be the 9th running back.
89 is Kobe Bryant, the cornerback out of Kansas.
Not a bad player.
And 90 is Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss.
No shock, no other quarterbacks. I get it.
At 91 is he who shall not be named. We're not allowed to talk about him anymore, but there he is,
Shock.
91.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of the people. Well, everybody has him ranked down in the 150 or below. Why do you guys keep talking about him?
Got a lot of tools.
Got a lot of tools.
Yeah,
a lot of tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
92.
He's not perfect, but he's got a lot of tools.
Latham Ransom, safety out of Ohio State. 93 is Gunnar Helm, tight end out of Texas.
Combine didn't do him any favors
No.
at all.
94, Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah
I
State.
have him higher.
95, Billy Bowman, safety out of Oklahoma.
Short, but does a lot of good stuff.
96, Kevin Winston Jr., safety out of Penn State.
He seems to be getting more and more heat, too. People were talking about some of these safeties are pretty interesting.
Yeah. 97 is Savion Williams, the wide receiver out of TCU. 98, Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State. 99 is Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. And 100 is Miles Frazier, guard out of LSU.
Kind of did okay at tackle at the Senior Bowl, too, but he's a guard.
Just some other names here we'll hit on. Some. He has Jalen Milroe at 103.
I have no idea where he's going to go.
Josh Farmer all the way down at 105, the defensive lineman out of Florida State.
There's a couple noses he hasn't mentioned yet that I like. West.
Damian Martinez at 108, the running back out of Miami, one spot ahead of, well, actually the next 3 picks here. You have Martinez, Scatabo, Devin Neal at 108, 109, 110.
Scatabo would be my pick of those 3.
Yeah. Who else stands out here? My man Jackson Haas, the tight end from Georgia Tech, is at 116.
He'd fit in really well.
I think people are sleeping on that dude.
He's a killer.
He is a monster.
He put him and Washington on the field together.
He's the bouncer that comes in and just throws guys out of the bar.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
Yeah,
he is nasty and huge.
yeah. He was my sleeper tight end.
Was he?
Yeah.
Mine was Lachey, kind of similar.
Yeah. You got let's see here. Dylan Gabriel at 122.
I'm not real excited about him.
No, neither am I. Emery Jones at 125.
Yeah.
I know we've been getting him later in some of our mock drafts. Ollie Gordon at 126. Wyatt Millum, who was in with the Steelers for a visit, down at 128.
Seems low for him.
He's guard.
He's a guard. Yeah. He is.
DJ Giddens, the running back out of K-State, is at 131.
Really good combine. I mean, there's
Still a
tools
pup.
there, right?
He didn't start playing football until junior year in high school.
I wonder if he's a kickoff returner right off the bat, too, and work him in a little slow and see what he does.
You got Brashard Smith, the running back.
That guy might lead the preseason in yardage.
Oh, yeah.
In the whole league.
Yeah. Brashard Smith, the running back out of SMU, is at 133. Just want the pure speed factor there. You got Mitchell Evans at 136, the tight end out of Notre Dame.
Not bad.
Just a good football player.
Yeah, Wally.
Kyle McCord at 137, quarterback out of Syracuse.
I can see him lasting a long time.
Yeah. J.J. Pegas, the nose tackle out of Ole Miss at 138.
They haven't had any more visits since that one
They
day.
have not.
Okay.
Kind of tied up with what they're
it gets
doing
busy,
here.
Yeah.
Noel Williams, the cornerback out of Cal at 143, followed by Mello Dotson, the cornerback out of Kansas at 144.
Williams is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I might have to do a little more Dotson homework, but Williams in the 4th or 5th round?
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
You got Will Howard at 147.
I bet he goes earlier than that.
Probably.
Yeah, I bet he's a Raider.
His 150th ranked player, Deion Walker, defensive tackle out of Kentucky.
That's about what he is.
That is what he is.
Yeah. I mean, he looks great.
He's
on all those way too early
He's
first
Daniel
round
McCullers.
Right.
That's what he is.
Heavy-footed, stand up straight.
I watched a lot of Daniel McCullers.
Yeah.
For 4 straight years.
There's a rep here and there.
That's who Deion Walker is.
Yeah. I mean, like McCullers, there's a rep here and there. He'll take a center or guard and do whatever he wants with them, and then there's 7 in a row where he just stands up and stands there.
I'd have Ty Robinson rated ahead of him.
I'd have West ahead of him.
I've had West ahead of him. There's other nose
probably others I'm not thinking of, but he'd be pretty low on my nose list.
No doubt.
If we do it, like I said, top 5 noses, there's no chance he's even in.
I wouldn't consider Deion Walker until the 7th round.
6 was about where I was going to say in a draft like this.
And tell
play 10 snaps.
Hey, Carl Dunbar, here's your project.
Keep him fresh. Don't let him go no huddle when he's out there. Get 2 good reps out of him. Get him out of the game.
Teach him how to keep his pad level below 7 feet.
You're in charge of stopping tush pushes. Give me 1 good rep, but you're probably still too high. And they go,
can't go there.
No, and he's not going to give you anything.
Been there and done that.
Yeah, he's not going to give you anything to pass rush either.
No, not at all.
Bat down passes.
But it's a little different list than some of the other ones we've looked at.
It is.
And I'll give Kyle credit. He didn't.
I think Kyle does good work.
The group think wasn't there.
No, he does his own work. He pounds the tape. He's a hardworking dude.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get to another break. That's our little talk about the draft today. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, of course, this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network on Steelers Nation Radio. And you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on these very airwaves. You can also download the Steelers mobile app and get it there, or you can watch along on YouTube, which plenty of people did in the last 24 hours.
Sounds like yesterday was popular by all accounts. So.
And we appreciate that. Go ahead and leave your comments there, and I try to get through those a couple times a day at least to answer some questions. I
meant to double check yesterday. I'm sure there was a bunch about Wolf. Yeah, I'm sure there was. And you did a phenomenal job of introducing yesterday's show and sad stuff. Obviously.
Yeah. Not the way you want to start your week. But
no.
Not the way you want to start any day, really. But
of course.
It is what it is. That was just kind of surprise out of the blue.
Yeah, not great.
In many ways.
Obviously.
So the Steelers did come to an agreement yesterday after our show ended with linebacker Malik Harrison of the Baltimore Ravens, inside linebacker, 2-year deal, reportedly. And
Which shut the door on Roberts. And
It shut the door.
Roberts was going
it did
somewhere
that, and
first
maybe
or whatever, right? But they're kind of a direct replacement, the way I see it.
And Matakevich.
Okay, yeah. You kind of kill two birds with one stone.
And Landon Roberts and Tyler Matakevich were both headed into free agency. Both are on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah,
now, I would have loved to have a Landon Roberts back.
They also have a lot of wear and tear on their bodies.
Yeah.
The way that they play. I mean, I don't know that either one's going to be in the league a whole lot longer.
So what the Steelers did with the Malik Harrison signing is both.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced two guys with one.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, especially with Holcomb in the mix now.
Yeah.
You know, like I've said this 1,000 times on these airwaves. Herbig and Roberts were my two that I wanted to bring back.
Right.
And I didn't think they'd be super expensive. Herbig's still out there as an interior O-lineman. But this makes sense. I mean, a lot of people were disappointed that I got from Twitter. Oh, man, they missed out on Roberts. Steelers screwed up. Yeah, I would love to have him back. But to your point, this does kind of kill two birds with one stone. If Holcomb's truly your 3, which is the way I look at it now.
Yeah.
He's an more athletic version than any of the guys we're talking about, which is the modern-day inside linebacker. Harrison, from what I remember, I think he came to Ohio State as an edge guy. And
He's 6'3", 255.
he's big.
He is a big dude.
Thumper, downhill, physical, AFC North dude. And you mentioned it off the air. He's way more, and that's the Matakevich thing, way more accomplished on special teams right now.
He has never played fewer than 288 special team snaps in his career.
That's a ton.
And he's been over 300 in each of the last 3 years.
That's hard to do. There's not that many special team snap over the course of a game. I mean, he's a core special teamer. So it makes sense. I mean, you're younger, about the same athleticism, maybe a little bit better. He's not Ryan Shazier running around out there.
I think what they looked at here is you had two linebackers on your roster in Matakevich and Roberts, both of who were on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
And you have Holcomb coming back.
Yeah.
The one problem that the Steelers did have, they had two problems last year on special teams, and they both involved kickoffs.
Okay.
Their kick returning was not great.
No, it wasn't.
Their kick return coverage was not great.
So yeah.
They would give some stuff up. The league is looking at moving the kickoffs back 5 yards to make it even more kicks
more
returned.
challenging and more speed.
We want more kicks returned.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you better have big, fast guys that can get off blocks and get to the ball carrier.
That are used to it as well. Yeah. And from what I remember, Roberts was not a special teamer.
None.
I mean, yes, he's active on game day, but if you would bring Roberts back, let's say it was Roberts instead of Harrison. Okay, maybe you're better on defense, but he's your 4th guy, and he's only really a rundown player.
Even if he's your 3rd guy.
Even if he's your 3rd guy against the Ravens, but not the Bengals.
You've got Holcomb here.
Right. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
One of those two guys is going to have to play special teams.
Right. Or one of them might have to be inactive.
Right. Or they're going to be inactive.
If a Matakevich is your special, or someone like him, or Mark Robinson.
And it might have been a situation where they looked at this and said, okay, what's our schedule look like next year? Who do we play? Okay, the teams that we're playing, these teams are all a bunch of 11 personnel teams. Okay, so
and I assume Peyton Wilson's going to play even more snaps.
Peyton Wilson is going to play more snaps.
Yeah, no matter what.
And so that, to me,
I wonder if Wilson and Queen are your every down linebackers.
Yeah.
Basically, period.
I love a Landon Roberts.
I do too.
Love him.
No knock on him.
But I don't want him playing at the expense of Peyton Wilson.
And that's what happened as a rookie.
Yeah.
There was the big package.
I want Peyton Wilson to take that next step.
Yeah.
And be out there all the time.
100%. And I think Holcomb's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's your 3rd linebacker, you're in really good shape.
And to be quite frank, the move that the main move, two moves. The Ravens made 2 moves at midseason when their defense got better. The one was to take Hamilton.
Moved Hamilton around.
They moved Hamilton back
to
free safety.
Yep.
The other move, they put Malik Harrison in the starting lineup.
Yeah, because they
took Jerome Simpson out.
Simpson just running around like a chicken with head cut
and
off,
put Harrison in there because he knew what he was doing.
They could trust him.
They trusted him. He did, again, nothing spectacular.
Right.
But he didn't make mistakes.
Yeah, he wasn't Ray Lewis, but he didn't screw up, and he knew his assignment and allowed Roquan to be Roquan, and there's a ripple effect there, a trust factor. No, I get it. And he knows the Ravens, and he knows the division.
He also hurt the Ravens by taking him away. They lost Chris Board, too.
Yeah. Also played
Chris Board and Malik Harrison were their 2 most the two guys that played the most special team snaps for them last year.
Really? And that's the cost of signing Stanley.
Right.
Right. No, I know a lot of people were disappointed, and I totally understand why.
I get it. I love Landon Roberts, too. Landon Roberts is one of my favorite guys all time to talk to in that locker room.
I bet.
Because he was just blunt.
He's high on my list on backers, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he blows people apart. But
at some point, you do have to look at the...
And I didn't look at his contract versus Harrison's. I think they're close. They're within $1 million or something. I mean, but you might... Think about game day. I mean, if the top three are Holcomb, Wilson, Queen, they're all active.
Right.
Roberts would be active, but if he's not helping on special teams,
you've taken a spot away from another position that you might need,
and then you're keeping him out of.
And you have to keep Mark Robinson around, and he has to be active because he's your special teams linebacker,
one of the highest special teams dudes out there.
And I like Tyler Matakevich as well. But you couldn't bring him back again.
No, you can't bring him back at his age, and he only does one thing for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't even get out of a game with him at this point as a linebacker.
That's just not what you can do. So you got younger at the position. You got a guy who, hey, if something happens here, this guy's going to step in and start.
And be fine. Yeah.
And be fine.
Yeah.
And, he's going to be a core special teams guy in an era where I think special teams are going to start to mean more again.
It's a good point about the kickoff. If people aren't just blasting it out of the end zone, you're going to cover kicks and you got to return kicks.
It was one of their big bugaboos late in the season last year because they didn't have to do it early in the year.
Right.
And then when they did start kicking it and teams started returning it on, I was like, oh, there's return out to the 50, return to the 4. Like, can't have those.
You can't have those. So, no, it adds up. And I think we, and especially you, laid it out well in the segment that's how NFL teams think. That's how coaches think. I got to build my best guys on game day and make guys that can do more than one thing have a lot of value.
Like, for example, late last year, Mike Tomlin's making decisions about, you're playing a game against whoever. I don't care who it is. Well, do I have Dean Lowry active? I can't, because even though I'd like to have him active.
Yeah,
but I can't because I've only got one inside backer, who plays special teams.
Who's special teams? So I have to have that guy.
Or I got to have Tyler Matakevich and Mark Robinson. I don't want to play defense with either one of them.
Yeah,
but I got to have them active. I'd much rather Dean Lowry's going to play more defensive snaps for me, just because. But I can't have him active because I got to have these two guys active to play special teams.
Yeah, and again, or even it's a. That's the way, again, coaches have to look at it, especially a head guy. Like, who are my best dudes if everyone's healthy? And I know there's going to be a lot of stretches during the year in November and December that they're not. And a guy that can do a couple is super valuable.
People were Preston Smith was inactive.
Right. And I was trying to think some big inactives.
Corey Trice, the week after they played the Bengals and he started the game, Corey Trice is inactive. Because he doesn't play.
Oh, what are they doing?
They don't play special teams.
They don't play special teams. And again, Preston Smith, maybe he would have been active the game he wasn't. Or maybe Roman Wilson gets a hat one of those games.
Right.
Because the way your linebacker
you have an extra spot now because you've gotten a guy who basically does two things.
He's really good on teams. He's going to be out there for everyone. And if I have to get him in the game on defense, cool.
I'm good.
I'm fine with it. Right. That's why he's on him. Yeah. And unfortunately, a popular dude like Roberts suffered because of it, or I don't know, maybe he signed first.
The other factor is if you're going to play Peyton Wilson more,
which you should,
you're not going to use him on special teams necessarily.
I would think less and less. Yeah.
Maybe he's a 50% special teams guy instead of playing 90% of the snaps.
Yeah, you might not want him running down on kickoffs and then playing 11 snaps a row on defense.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's a factor as well.
Yeah.
Again, there's more to building a roster. This isn't Madden, where
it's not college where you get a million scholarships.
Right.
And they got tons of guys on the sidelines. All these guys have to get their jersey dirty and factor in a lot of ways.
Fatigue is a factor. If I'm running down on the kickoff, to your point, and then I got to go out and play defense, well, that's not the best best plan.
Well, everyone on the planet knows it. Like Wilson ran down on kickoffs. Let's detach him against a slot receiver and run him 40 yards.
Let's run the running back on a wheel route and see if he can keep up.
Exactly. Have him deep downfield.
He just ran 100 yards where you just had back-to-back kickoffs. There was a penalty on the first one.
Yeah.
Had to kick it again. Now he's done it twice.
That's why these guys have headsets.
Yeah.
Right.
They're pretty smart.
They're pretty smart about it.
For the most part.
But no, I mean it's a minor move, but it's worth analyzing.
Yeah, I mean when you look at it again, you have to.
Even like McCullum on an exclusive rights deal. That's an important little move.
He's your backup center.
Or the Metcalf trade. You took a 7th and turned it into a 6. They're little moves. But they matter.
They matter.
They add up. You know, you only got to hit once on one of those. You know, just give me one more roll of the die.
Yeah, it's all about thinking beyond just the move itself.
Give me a little something extra. For
every move means something else.
Pick I make, right?
One of the things you always say is that teams show you what they're thinking by the moves that they make.
That's why I love this time of year.
Yeah,
right. They tell you what their strengths and weaknesses are. And
yeah.
Money and roster moves don't lie. And the draft is very telling.
I think the Steelers looked at this and said, our special teams was not great last year.
Mm-hmm. Started great
on
and
that.
they were in that
everything
area,
else was like punt coverage,
get challenged more,
punt return, all that stuff was great.
Punt blocks, awesome.
Our kick coverage,
awesome.
our kickoff coverage was not good.
Mm-hmm. And it got worse as the season went on, and it might be more challenging in 2025 than it was in 2024.
Yeah.
If you got to run 5 more yards, there's going to be more returns.
That's what the league wants.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the league's going to get.
And we talked about this a ton. You brought it up over and over in Latrobe last year. Okay, maybe teams are going to kick it out of the end zone. But in December, are they?
Right.
In Buffalo or in Green Bay,
We saw it more, and again, you have to take a look at the schedule.
Yeah.
See who you're playing next year. You don't know when you're going to play them yet, but you know who's on the schedule. You know where you have to go.
Yeah.
And I think
you have a bunch of dome games. Do you have right?
Yeah, you have to look at it and say, okay, worst case scenario, we got to go to Chicago or we got to go to wherever.
You have
that could end up being in December.
You have 3 North road games every year, and last year showed they like to play them late in the season. Not the sunny Cleveland game in week 2.
No, boy, I'd like that to be the case.
Wouldn't that be nice once in a while?
I don't know if I've ever
not on a Thursday.
I don't know
night
if I've ever been
week.
to Cleveland when it's been nice.
I don't know if it's ever nice there.
That could be the. Oh, that's kind of where I'm going with this. I don't think it's ever sunny in Cleveland.
Yeah.
There's a show. It's always sunny in Philadelphia. It's never sunny in Cleveland.
Sunny
Maybe we could write that show.
My buddy that was from Atlanta we got hired the same time. It was like, I just want to go like hit golf balls or go to the batting cage or something. I'm like, there'll be a month or 2. You'll be fine by your standards.
Yeah.
As if someone that's grew up in Atlanta and the Southern fella, I'm like, there's not gonna be a whole lot of that over here.
I think there was
months here.
One time we were up there in September and it was like 70-ish degrees or more.
Decent.
But the wind was blowing like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. I'd love just to
right on the lake.
Not be a road game on a short week.
That would be good.
Thursday night.
That would be good.
Maybe they could flip that this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, I'm looking here at Tom Brady's final season in New England. This is Tom Brady we're talking about.
I know where you're going with this.
He completed 60.8% of his passes.
Yeah.
That was a career low other than his rookie. Well, no, I guess his 2003 season he was at 60.2.
That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
60.8% of his passes for just over 4,000 yards.
His final season in New England.
Yeah. 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Mm-hmm. There was maybe 2 years before that where should we trade Garoppolo or Brady?
Yeah.
And I think ownership wanted to trade Brady, and Belichick stuck up for him.
Yeah. He then goes to Tampa the next year in a better situation.
Great situation.
More weapons.
Yeah.
The whole deal. Throws for 40 touchdowns with 12 interceptions. Completed 65.7% of his passes, 4,600 yards.
Yeah.
He was 43 years old.
I mean, that's freaky stuff, and he's an anomaly.
He's a generational talent,
right? I mean,
in terms of that. Who else is a generational talent?
The guy from the Jets, right? In terms of first ballot Hall of Famers, like Wilson's had a great career. He ain't Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just in terms of career, there's not. I think he's a top 5.
In terms of athleticism,
right?
Aaron Rodgers is a far better athlete than Tom Brady.
Oh, far better. Yeah.
Like if they threw the ball, you watched them throw the ball at their prime, in their primes.
Oh, in terms of talent, they're not even close. Right. Rodgers is one of the best passers of football ever.
Yeah.
And again,
one of Brady's biggest
he was when he won back-to-back MVP.
Yeah.
but he still flashes.
But one of Brady's biggest superpowers was
Above the
the
net.
microprocessor in his head.
Yeah. And I think the avocado toast and him and Giselle on the French Riviera, and he's putting shoulder pads on to practice. And
He was
I don't
pretty
think
driven.
anybody else had that. You know,
He was pretty driven.
That gets you to 43 easier than anyone else maybe in history. There aren't a lot of quarterback options here.
No.
And if it's Rodgers versus Wilson or Rodgers versus anyone, he can still play. He's not what he used to be. He finished the season really strong. He had a really bad injury that he recovered from. It might be a disaster. He's obviously a very personable fella, you know, and it could go off the tracks in a heartbeat. But it could be good.
It could be good.
It could be good.
But I would have some ground rules.
Yeah. I mean, he can still flick his wrist, and it's a 40-yard on-the-numbers throw over the middle to in-cutting Metcalf.
To a streaking DK Metcalf who just
Right.
Where George Pickens just go up and be big, George.
Yep. Now, I've thought about this too. Rodgers is going to probably have some ground rules too. You know, like
Sure.
He doesn't like receivers that aren't exactly where they're supposed to be at the right time, much like Brady. And Metcalf and Pickens can drift and aren't exactly Devontae Adams in terms of sharpness and things like that.
Well, there again, if that's what you want, Aaron, you better come to OTAs.
As I say, you better take over and
let these guys know where you want them
and tell them exactly where they be, or they don't get the ball.
Right.
Because that's been his history.
Devontae Adams isn't walking through the door like last year.
Absolutely not.
We're not bringing in all your buddies from Green Bay.
No, like
when they get cut by the Jets. It's not
happening. I don't
happening.
need Randall Cobb here, or Lazard. I mean, maybe he has a little left, but we're not bringing in all your buds to be in the right place and all that stuff. But you need us, and we need you. Could be good.
Could be good.
Could be a disaster, but it could be good.
Could be good.
But it would never prohibit you from drafting that guy.
No. Not
Nor would Wilson.
One bit.
Nor would Wilson. I mean, if those are the two options, you could draft one that you adore in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh round this year, or next year, go all in for your favorite guy in the draft. I like that flexibility.
Yeah.
You know?
Again,
I mean, these are the options. We knew none of the options were perfect.
Yeah. That's the thing. People are looking at this like the Steelers can't. They didn't get Justin Fields. They can't compete in 2025. Like,
I'm rooting for Fields.
I think of all the quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers is a better player than Justin Fields right now.
Yes.
I mean, that's, to me, is undeniable.
It's undeniable.
Who's
Russell
better
Wilson's
today?
a better player right now than Justin Fields.
Right. Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford. I mean, all the guys, a lot of the dudes on the move. Fields is.
The league told us that a year ago.
Right.
When he was still available at this time, and you didn't trade him until a week after free agency opened. You traded a sixth-round pick for him.
I'm sure we'll get comments.
He was available the entire time.
Especially me. You know, you've changed your tune on Fields. No, I haven't. I was very enticed by him. I mean, I think that he might have a bright future. I mean, maybe he's the answer. But the chances of it happening are probably pretty slim.
See, I got the other way. You're so rough on Justin. Pointing at, we're here to analyze.
Yeah. And I don't like Rodgers any more now than I did a month ago.
Right.
But I'm enticed by him.
Wilson has his flaws as well. Holds the ball too long. Takes some sacks. Those are flaws.
Doesn't throw the middle of the field as much as I want.
But if I've got those two big studs on the outside,
Wilson's also appealing with those.
Sets up pretty nicely for those two dudes.
The moon ball. If those are your two moon ball guys,
one of them's going to be open.
One of them's going to have a single coverage.
All
the time,
yeah.
And you know he'll let it fly.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to throw the middle of the field as much with those two.
Right.
You know.
So I get it either way, whichever way they go with this.
Mm-hmm. This time tomorrow we might know.
I would think this time tomorrow we will know.
I would think so. I mean, the rumors will be flying like crazy tonight. But
and that will make people
finalized tomorrow.
A lot less antsy than they are right now.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll be talking about who's the backup and what their next moves are and those type of things. And that would be great.
Fantastic. Then you can move on to the next step and get, again.
The one thing I've heard too, and I don't quite agree with, is the Steelers have missed out on all these free agents because no one wants to play here because they don't know who the quarterback is. I don't know who they've been. Who's that guy? That you're talking about?
Do you think that before they made the trade for DK Metcalf,
right?
They had no contact whatsoever with DK Metcalf and his agents. And then when the trade was made, they had no contact. They made a deal with, like, as soon as he was
I would like to know who the guys they missed out on are.
Yeah.
I don't.
I guarantee they went to DK Metcalf and said, "Here's what we're looking at."
Was Byron Murphy going to come here?
These are the 3 or 4 guys.
Right.
No.
I don't know who these guys are that they missed out on. I mean, because they've been sitting on their hands doing nothing because they don't have a quarterback. It's not how the league works.
No.
It just isn't.
This roster, whether it's Russ or whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whichever one they decide on, is already better than the one that they finished last season with.
Yes.
Once they add the other pieces in there.
Yeah.
Because losing Dante Jackson doesn't.
I thought he was a liability.
I
was hard on him all year.
That doesn't factor into anything. Losing Najee Harris, as much as he was valuable for you, doesn't move the needle all that much.
I didn't also think he's a great fit in this offense.
Right.
You know, all the zone stuff, he doesn't have very good vision. He's hard to tackle. He's super reliable. He had a nice stint here. That's not what I'm looking for my next back.
The offensive linemen that you lost, you expected to lose.
Oh yeah, they're all backups.
They were already.
It
was already in the cards. Like
nothing came out of left field. I mean, there wasn't a curveball that you didn't see coming.
The only spot you don't have a starter at right now, assuming that the Darius Slay stuff.
I'd say the corner stuff. I'd like to get firmed up to. And I wish he was 5 years younger.
Is replacing Larry Ogunjobi.
Yes.
In a great defensive tackle draft.
Yep. And you're short a second-round pick now.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, your draft resources are less, and they have other things they have to address in the draft. But there's also defensive linemen that are unemployed at the moment, too.
Who will, they're all of a sudden they start looking around going, I'll take the $4 million.
No, they're not done.
No, not by a long shot. And, again, we're just over 29 hours into free agency right now.
It's a little early.
It's a little early to start freaking out.
And there will be people available
all
via trade. Right. We'll see.
Anyways, that's going to do it for today's show.
I'm psyched for tomorrow's show, though.
Absolutely.
The league year starts when we kick off.
Can't wait. But that's going to do it for our show today. So for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site running the Justin Miller hotline, and for Tyler Vittmeyer, making sure our video gets out there onto YouTube, I am Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.